Hi again. So this is my second video today and I am going to share about my vipassana experience. So, and first of all, gratitude. Um, Actually, I am going to share my gratitude about the guru teacher who ran the vipassana meditation and who also is running my yoga teacher training course. I've been watching a lot of videos recently about Kundalini yoga, and other Hindu traditions, we're going to say, spiritual things as well. And I find that a lot of the time, what I see is very restrictive and very limiting in many ways. Wanting to keep the traditional aspect of things, but also mystifying things and making it very much out of reach for people in general. But for sorry, let me try and make this, see if the lighting is a bit better. Uh, yeah, just simply getting things out of reach for people and limiting. And so my gratitude goes towards the guru who is at the center where I'm doing my yoga teacher training and where I did the vipassana, because since I've joined the course and that I've done the vipassana meditation, I have accessed such a huge amount of health and well-being. I have changed and shifted in my own personal health and in my own personal spiritual development in such a way that it probably would have taken years if I had been doing it on my own and without the assistance of Guru Vishnu. And so my gratitude goes towards him and towards him setting up the courses and the training and the center, the ashram that he is leading. But really, my gratitude goes towards him understanding the importance of openness and of honesty and demystifying things and rendering them accessible to everyone, because thanks to that and that process and that journey that he is on, then we can understand and use these traditional techniques and allow to preserve them and allow to pass them on, which is also his intent, and allow to benefit from them in a most natural and organic way, even though for many people it seems that they should be out of reach unless you have done so many thousands of hours of meditation, so many thousands of hours of yoga and whatever other techniques. Um, I, through my journey, and especially with the Vipassana, I will explain anyway the setup that I did it in, but which is quite unconventional. Um, but basically, I have been able to improve my health and my lifestyle, but going slowly without such radical changes, and so being actually able to do it without crashing for the too big of a challenge feel. So that's what my gratitude is going towards today. Right, okay, so I did a 10 days retreat of Vipassana meditation. Vipassana, I'm not going to tell this whole history, but basically there's this gentleman from Burma called Goenka, and he has created these centers for Vipassana, these retreat centers. And Vipassana is a meditation technique that comes with very specific guidelines in order to achieve the purpose for practicing it. And so it comes with the process being free, so you can go on a retreat and not pay any money for it. However, they do accept and invite for donations. Um, you normally go retreat in a center, and so there's a specific vegan or vegetarian diet. I can't remember, one of the two. Definitely vegetarian anyway. And then there's hours also. So you'll wake up at a certain hour every day, which I think is either 4 or 5 in the morning. And then practice meditation throughout the day. Have a meal have breakfast and a meal for lunch, and maybe something small for dinner. I can't remember all the specifics, but basically, I did it from home. So I had to keep silent for 10 days, to not see anyone for 10 days, to not use the phone, the computer, or anything like that, of course. Um, I was not vegetarian at all during that time, and I still ate quite robust meals, uh, following my usual lifestyle. And still, I went through the process in the most amazing and powerful way. And so now I'm going to tell you what happened. So basically, for the first 2 days, so Gwenka gives you specific guidelines as to the process and what you're meant to be doing. And with this meditation I did, every night we would watch the video, or every day rather, we would watch the video of Gwenka that he had created to kind of explain what you may have gone through during the day, how to bring it forward to your development, in how to set up for the next day, basically. Um, so we watched those every day, which was incredibly helpful. And then the first 2 days, it was about focusing on our nostril area and focusing on the sensations of the air going through there. And so that was for the first 2 days. And then from the third day onwards, we were doing the body scan. And then the metta meditation, we would be doing it every night before going to bed, but a shorter version of what most people, I think, might be doing. Um, and so this is what happened to me. The first 2 days, so the first day, it was hard for me. And I found it challenging, number one, to hold the pose, the meditation pose, because you're meant to stay in a meditative state. And so therefore, in the same pose, for a very long period of time. Ultimately, with breaks in between, you're meant to be meditating up to about 10 hours a day. And so the first day, I found it really hard, because if you shift your position, you change your mental focus. So you're shifting yourself away from your meditative state. And so that's why you're not meant to be moving, I expect. And so I had a very nasty sciatica, and staying in the same pose the whole time was really difficult for me. So, and also, if you go to a retreat place, very often, I mean, you can have a pillow, you can have a cover, that kind of stuff. But generally speaking, you're not on a chair unless you really need to. And so you have to sit in the best comfortable way that you can, but they do encourage you to sit with your legs crossed and your back straight. And our teacher was showing us to use the Jnana Mudra, uh, this mudra, as well as we do it, which empowers the meditation, but also can be a strain to hold for long hours. So the first day, as I said, was really hard, and I could focus okay, but I was tired at the end of the day and thinking, oh gosh, how long am I gonna still have to meditate for? Then the posture was difficult. I was feeling pain quite a bit. So what I did is I have a massage couch I use as a sofa when I'm not using it for work. And so I sat on there with my legs crossed and my back against the wall. And then sometimes I sat at my desk chair, the one I'm sitting on now. And so I would switch from one to the other whenever the sciatica is playing up more. The second day, so I can't remember exactly in which order things happened, but I think it's the second day, there was a water leak from the toilet, from the bathroom to the kitchen, and at 10 at night. And I had to explain to my husband how to fix it, because I knew what the problem was. And so I had to actually voice out what my thoughts then. And so that broke my silence. And I felt like, oh my gosh, this is like, I'm breaking everything and destroying all the efforts that I've made for the last 2 days. And bearing in mind, by second day, I'm like, oh no, I've still got like 8 days of these. There's no way I can do this. And so then that happened, and I broke my silence. My voice was so funny going, I could barely control it. And I thought, oh, by 10 days, I'm not gonna have any voice left. And then I did on the third day. So basically, so the first 2 days was the focus on the breath and focus on the breath at the nostrils especially. And by then I could understand better the process, and but I was like, I need to do what I'm told to do for the purpose of what I'm told to do, but I hadn't really understood the experiencing that I was getting from it. On the third day, so every day we could join a live meditation, so we can all meditate together. And on the third day, sorry, on the third day, I went on there, and then I felt I was in a rather negative space, and I didn't want to bring that energy out to the rest of the group. So I thought, oh, let me come off of that for a moment, gather myself, and then get back on it. So then I tried to get back on it, but they had blocked so that you could not re-access it, because I expect the pinging noise of people joining would disturb other meditators. So I was like, oh, let me in, let me in, let me in. I want to get in. Why is this happening to me? I cried for maybe an hour nonstop, but it wasn't like, it was like, ooh, big, big, big cries. And I just dealt with that and then continued my vipassana journey after that. And what it is that for a long time, I maintain myself in a kind of a foggy space in my mind, because I suppose it was easier to go through life in that way also, but also because I wanted to get to heal myself, but I was probably overdoing it. And so I was mostly spaced out, but I'm also someone who was mostly in my head all the time. So much so that I would get those energy headaches because there's too much energy up there. And I'm sorry, I'm not being rude, I'm just releasing as I'm talking. And yes, so I forgot the point I was making. But anyway, so I, oh yes, that's right. So I really, so I was someone who was so much in my head. And bearing in mind, I started working on myself when I was about 16 years old, used to working on emotions, releasing emotions, and then also later on using tapping and all sorts of other techniques helping me. But it's all, but the tapping can be in the body too, but mostly otherwise it's all in the head. And so the also as an overweight person and for many years not liking my body, especially through adolescence, I really detached from my body, was in my head, and spaced out a lot of the time. So then, all of a sudden, everything is silent. You have no outside connections, it's just you. And also, you are now completely in your body, because Vipassana is about coming away from the head and being in the body. And I was so lost because I am not used to experiencing life in that way. And I think so when something emotional happens, I have the time to see it calm. I'm used to it. I can keep a buffer distance and work on it and process it. But when it comes through the body, like that day with the meditation that I was doing, and I couldn't go back to, I just did not see it coming. It just whoosh, it just got all over me, and I was so overpowered by it. And it took me some time to relieve it. And again, I cried. So I was working on the emotions, and so I was more in my head then. So that was taking me away from the vipassana process. Um, then, so this happened. I had this crisis. on day 8 as well. And on day 10, I spent most of day 10 um, processing the fact that it was going to be over and I was going to have to get back into normal life. Um, I I found that the simplicity of that space, the quietness of it, and the fact that there was no time constrictions and no time obligations, no schedule apart from meditating all day, was such a lovely place to be. And I just did not want to go back to the busy of life, to the busy of people, to the layer after layer after layer of thinking that we put in our mind. I just did not want to go through that. And I wanted to keep in that space. And so it was very stressful at first when I went back. And it took me a few days to accommodate back to normal life. And then I got sometimes, so by maybe fourth day or fifth day, when I was scanning my body, I was going quite deep into even the internal organs, scanning the pancreas, the heart, the liver, the spleen, all these things, the kidneys, the uterus, and ovaries, all these things I would scan for sensations as well. And what I noticed is that when I'm scanning the heart area, it releases the sensations. And then once those sensations are out, I get bouts of emotions taking me over. And so it could be sadness, it could be anger, it could be fear, and it just takes me over. And for quite some time, I'm stuck in it and I can't get it out. And it is weird because I'm not used to that. I'm used to processing everything from a buffer space. So I'm used to being someone who's really reasonable and generally quite calm and passive in a way. But after Vipassana, I discovered even more so than before. I was already tapping on that before, but after Vipassana, I really discovered a huge vulnerability inside of me. And it was like I was opening myself to that vulnerability and to life from that angle. And it felt really challenging to have those overwhelming emotions coming and not being able to get out of it because it would put me in a place where I couldn't be as reasonable and as calm as I was before. And it led me to behave in certain ways that were quite not quite what I was used to anymore, but that was also intrinsically so much more me than what I used to do before. So now it's been about a month and a half, or a month and a week or something like that. That I've finished the vipassana retreat, and I find that I am losing over time that pure state of simplicity and timelessness and freedom. And have felt over the weeks that I'm putting on layers of thinking and moving away from my body in layers in the same way as well. But there is a core to me that is staying and that has changed me for the rest forever. And obviously, I am going to do a lot more vipassana meditation. And we are encouraged after we finish that 10 days retreat to carry on doing it at home, which is what I've been trying to do. And also to, uh, what's the word? To fit it into the everyday life so that when we deal with situations through the day, we can use vipassana to deal with those situations. So, for example, I'd be driving on the road and then a driver does something that seems dangerous to me. This is one of the most frustrating situations for me. And so now, so at first I get angry or frustrated, and then right away I would tap into the vipassana and just let it all go, and it would just vanish. And that for me is absolutely wonderful. And I've been able to maintain this in everyday life. Not all the time, because things sometimes get so overpowering, like I said, that even vipassana, I cannot take that step back to be able to vipassana that. And yes, I do use vipassana as a verb now, even though it's supposed to be a state of non-action. But it's it's such an amazing process. And so what I've noticed from vipassana is the main, well, a few main things, but one of them is how incredible it is that one thought has a complete different set of sensations on the body. Just one thought can at the same time express itself on our body with uh, some pulling of the head, tingling of the shoulder, pain at the hip, and numbness at the toe. Like all of those together goes with one thought. And so imagine the number of thoughts that we have in 1 minute, let alone one day, but even in 1 minute. How many sensations, stimulations, and sensations on the body we create over and over and over again, and layering them more and more. And so, of course, that explains why little by little I am now stepping away and away from the body. I'm never gonna step completely away. I have reached a level of depth that is amazing and that will always stay there, but a depth of connection with my body. But I feel like the more I'm gonna do retreats, the deeper and the more anchored I will be in my body in the most positive way. Um, so there's a second thing that's really important. Gwenka explains that basically we've got the crap inside of us that is stuck in the body. And so by switching off from the mind and going into the body, then we can process these things and they come in layers. And so it's like you uproot something and then something else comes up. That one that's uprooted is gone now, but now you need to uproot this one and then it brings something else under. And there is not enough time in one lifetime to uproot everything. But the process is so amazing and beautiful because the more you uproot, the lighter you feel, the clearer you are in your mind, and the more comfortable and happy you are in your life. And when I finished the 10 days retreat, basically I felt like my body was like a marshmallow. It was like there was so much pain that was gone, and it felt so soft inside that I felt like I was filled with marshmallow. And it was an amazing experience. And so I'm definitely gonna go back to doing retreats, and I'm definitely going to be doing occasionally a half a day or a full day of vipassana, and I might even put it together with a fasting day or something like that. I don't know yet, but definitely I will carry on in this way. And I have not done it as a full 2 hours session that I wanted to be doing daily yet, because with my yoga teacher training, I need a lot of time for studying. But as soon as I can, I'm going to go back to doing daily at least 1 hour, if not two, and continue on this journey. There was something else that I wanted to say, and I can't think of what it is. This is not the only video I am going to make. I will be making other videos also about Vipassana, because I feel like there's so much to say about it. But it's absolutely amazing, and it's only on day 10 that I actually realized how we can how to fully use and understand this technique. Each day I was grasping more and more, but it's on the 10th day that really it completed itself and came out like, ta-da, this is what I am and that is how to use me. And basically it is absolutely amazing, because what I got out of it is that from a place of peace inside, and stepping back with the awareness of being a witness to everything in our system, whether it be a physical sensation, a feeling, or an emotion, or even a thought, that from that standpoint of peace and through the eyes of the witness, so not actually experiencing it so much, leaving a space between it and you, when you scan through as a body scan, whether it be a thought again, because even with the body scan, thoughts come and you will scan through them, that scanning process has the power to vaporize the thoughts, the feelings, the sensations, and the emotions. So the pains that we have, physical pains, the past traumas, each negative thought that comes to our head, we can vaporize it so it never comes back. Again, bearing in mind that when you take something out, something else comes up. Yeah, so some things will take longer than others to completely vanish. And I expect maybe that is what's going on with those overpowering moments that I've had in sadness, fear, and anger. But really, for me, there is that power of vaporizing things. And through this vipassana retreat, I triggered my periods 10 days early, um, more or less at the beginning of the retreat. And the pain I normally get on the first day means I normally have to take medication, painkillers, and that's the only time that I take painkillers, period pain and headaches. And the period pain, so the first day I managed to reduce it by 2/3 just by using Vipassana. The second day I forgot I had them. There were times I forgot I had them for the rest of the week. And so, or for the rest of the few days that they took. So it is really ultra powerful. And now I had another set of periods since, and they were, I'd say, maybe 1/3 less painful than they normally are. And then I used Vipassana on them, and again, gradually the pain went until there was nothing left. So now the trick is I have to be careful because during my periods I am more tired, so I have to make sure I don't overdo it now that I don't have as much pain. That is how good it has become. And so we can actually use Vipassana for everything, absolutely everything. And the process of scanning is just so magical. It's unbelievable. And I had done Vipassana, that's the last thing I want to say now. I had done, like, my meditation teacher, Liam, uh, he had made me experience 1 hour of Vipassana by focusing on the nostrils. And then also, I think we might have done a body scan as well. But after 1 hour, I never understood any of it. I never understood the magic and the power of the vaporizing of everything through this state of peace and witnessing. And I had never really understood how things are put and go when you do it. And it's only after the 10 days and really all the way until the end of the 10 days that I really grasped that fully, and that I've been able since to be using it in the most beautiful way. And so I would say, I'm not saying I know more than you because I've done this and so I'm higher up than you, but what I'm saying is there is a fat chance that unless you've experienced the process of the 10 days, you may not completely understand how it functions, how it can help you, how you can make most of it, and how good it feels. Um, the process of vipassana is that you need to preserve it exactly how it is, because I feel the process itself, how it is so meaningful, exactly the way it is shaped, and exactly the way that Gwenka is bringing it out to us. And he was very, very aligned with Buddha and with its teachings, and he was definitely on the path of enlightenment, and it took him to teaching Vipassana in his way. And it is so incredibly powerful. And so he was very keen and has been pushing through for the followers of Vipassana and followers of him to maintain the um, the purity of the technique exactly as it is. And I think that that purpose is because otherwise, one, we can actually hurt ourselves with it. There are some people who have gone through a few days of it and stopped halfway through because they felt too uncomfortable, and then got lost in their lives because they had started the journey but they abruptly ended it before it had the time to actually do its work in the best way, in the deepest way. And so I really feel like potentially and possibly uh, it is important to go through that retreat, to start with a retreat, and to do the whole 10 days. And actually, I'll add one more thing, is that this is an incredibly spiritual process. And the history and the story of Vipassana meditation is so rooted in spirituality that um, it feels like, damn, I've lost my train of thoughts again. Let me think. Ah, yes, that it is really important that the people who are prone to be interested to being interested in vipassana and who are musing with the idea of doing it, they are on the path of vipassana, and so that it is very meaningful for them to do it, and that it is the right thing for them to do it when they feel like it's the right time for them to do it. More than with anything else I've ever seen, I feel like with Vipassana, it is really very much like this. So if you feel that you have if you feel that you have a keen interest in Vipassana, that so far you've looked at it and you've gathered information about it, or that you've been musing with the idea of doing it but have not done it yet, it could be that Vipassana is actually meant to be on your path. And so I definitely recommend for you to be doing a retreat and to start with a retreat. And I would also recommend to not even watch Gwenka's videos until you've done until you're doing the retreat. And then each day watch the right one for the day, because they really help for each day. But I feel like maybe it would lose some of its power if you watch it beforehand. This said, I've realized that from a standpoint of having done some of the days of the Vipassana already, and so maybe before doing Vipassana, you may not grasp the whole of what he says, and so maybe it will be just as powerful. I don't know. But definitely, if you feel that Vipassana could be part of your journey, just really look it up and see if you can do it, because it's absolutely life altering in a most beautiful way. Okay, so that's my first video about this. I may post more, I don't know. I feel like I've actually said quite a lot with this. And also, of course, also, I never lost my voice in the end, so it's all good. All right. Have a wonderful evening, and bye.